Welcome to Mod of the Week. This week we are talking about risers. When adjusting a bike to a specific rider, you invariably need to adjust the handlebar height and orientation relative to the seating position. For full-sized bikes, those around 250cc and above, manufacturers typically set the stock handlebars low enough that it can be used by most adults. Although this is preferable for manufacturers, it means that most riders do have to make some adjustment. There are a few ways of doing this. Most people swap out their handlebars, but I find this isn't the easiest solution as it is a sort of guessing game, often requiring riders to purchase several different types before they find one that is optimal. What many people do to adjust their handlebar height is to install a set of risers at the bar clamp. This is advantageous since it doesn't require you to purchase a new set of handlebars, and thus is far cheaper. In the same vein, some bikes have adjustable risers built into their triple clamp. Both of these options are fine, but due to the orientation of the triple clamp, such risers push the handlebars further back towards the rider. So taller riders will be forced to sit further back on the seat. This may not be a problem for everyone, but for many, there are a few concerns. In the case of bikes with passenger pegs, a rearward seating position may not leave enough space for such passengers to sit comfortably. Along these lines, for those who carry luggage on their bikes, rearward seating will interfere with panniers and saddlebags. At the very least, luggage will have to be moved towards the rear to avoid contact with the rider, if not removed entirely. This is compounded by the fact that taller riders have longer arms and need to sit further back in order to steer comfortably. These combined mean the bike center of mass is moved substantially rearward, resulting in a net loss of control at the front wheel as well as greater potential for accidental wheelies. This is very much a concern, since uncontrolled wheelies cause tank slapping and high side wrecks. Finally, having the handlebars pushed back will affect a rider's standing position, as the foot controls and pegs are in a set position. It may be hard for riders to maintain balance in a standing position over the foot controls whilst reducing their ability to steer. For these reasons, using a set of pivot risers can be very beneficial for taller riders. Instead of placing spacers within the bar clamp, pivot risers add a secondary clamp which can be pushed forward or rearward to accommodate the rider. The risers I ended up going with are the ROX Anti-Vibe Pivot Bar Riser. These dampen vibration through a rubber spacer capturing a bolt within the riser. For those who ride their dual sport bikes long distances at high RPM, the vibration can make their hands go numb, or at the very least, just be uncomfortable. There are a few solutions for dealing with vibration, but none of them are so practical in my opinion. For one, pillow grips increase rider strain when riding off-road, as they require the rider to take a firmer grip of the bars. Tapered fat bars, which dampen vibration through resonance, limit the amount of space available for bar-mounted components. And finally, bar end inserts, which dampen by inserting a tube filled with mercury into each end of the bars, add weight to the bike and cannot be installed with handguards. Now, as far as how good the risers are at dampening vibration, it's hard to say. Before installing the risers, my hands would go numb about after 5 hours of riding on the highway. Now I can go a whole day without that ever happening, though I'd say the real benefit of the dampening risers over the standard risers is not that it reduces vibration, but that it adds an extra pivot point to the bars. All pivot risers have a hidden benefit in the way of preventing damage during a crash. Essentially, they act as a pivot point, and will move the bars forward or backward as they absorb an impact. This means you are less likely to bend your handlebars with pivot risers. In the case of dampening risers, the extra pivot point allows more of the impact to be absorbed. As well, it reduces conflicts between wheel and bar position during a crash, making it very unlikely for your forks to go out of alignment. These things do have a ridiculous tightening procedure. Alright. Actually, are pretty complicated. Everything's a bit in the way of everything else, it seems like. And these separate articulating points makes it a touch hard. Just a touch.